Hip, hip, hooray!
It's a reading day.
Woo!
Welcome back, friends.
We're back.
We hope you had an amazing fall break. We sure did.
We
The
did.
weather was phenomenal.
Beautiful.
So great.
Beautiful.
So we are back and ready to learn together in 4th grade reading, and we are switching gears.
We
Switching
are.
gears.
Be
We are
ready.
switching gears.
Flip that switch.
So we've been enjoying fiction, and today we are going to make the jump to nonfiction, which I know that may be exciting for some of our friends because some people prefer fiction, nonfiction. They kind of have a strong preference.
That's right.
So
what is nonfiction? I know you know, but just in case, we're going to talk about what that is. So, nonfiction, remember, is a text that is true and based on real information and facts. I find nonfiction fascinating because of that truth factor.
yes.
I love to learn about the things that are around me and that I see every day. So, this topic, not my favorite part of my everyday world.
But you're not going to check out on us.
I'm not. I love
Because
it.
it's a great book, and just because you don't like what the book's about,
That's right.
don't check out on us.
Right. No.
Okay.
Because it is still fascinating. Because I know why bugs are not my favorite. But when you read this, then you kind of start to have a better understanding and even a little bit of a heart for these bugs and what they stand for. So
I agree.
it
I
is-
agree.
It is fascinating.
So we are making the switch to nonfiction. Today we're just going to introduce the book to you real quick. I am so excited because our guest reader is Mr. Dan from Bernheim,
Oh.
the nature educator.
That was so
And
cool.
you
Mr.
will
Dan.
listen to him over and over again because his voice is fabulous. How he reads is amazing. And if you have never been to Bernheim, it is such a short, close little drive, and it's beautiful right now. So go visit. You do not have to have an arranged time anymore.
Oh,
You
great.
can just go.
Yes.
They're open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we went over fall break, and it was wonderful. It's just a great place to go.
Beautiful.
And Monday through Friday, I believe it's free.
Yes.
So it's
There
a
you
free, fun thing to do.
A free fun thing.
So we appreciate Mr. Dan taking the time to read this book for us. And he's actually in the forest
Yes, I know.
reading it. And you're going to love it.
I love
so
it.
if you haven't yet, stop what you're doing, stop everything you're doing, and go listen to Mr. Dan read our book this week because he's
He
amazing.
does a great job.
Yes.
We appreciate
Yes.
Mr. Dan.
Thank you.
So what we want to do is, as with any book, and especially once we start to get into nonfiction, there is a greater kind of purpose and reason for our first objective, which is to think about, not that one, I'm sorry, here we go.
They all look the same.
They
Why did
do.
I make them different colors? They all look the same.
Okay, we have to really think about when we get into nonfiction the meaning of the words on the page. So there's two parts of that. We have academic and domain specific words.
What in the world is that?
I know, that is so confusing. What we're talking about today are going to be those academic words that have to do with the text and the topic in which we're reading. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Academic's just a big word.
Right, it is. It's just a fancy way. So when we're reading about bugs, we're going to have very specific words that are about bugs. If we're reading about reptiles, there'd be different, very specific words about reptiles. So we have to understand those words to best understand the topic. So we're going to take a look at some of those. And as we continue on, we have to explain how those words and phrases might shape the meaning of the text that we're reading. So even though it's nonfiction, there's still a lot of meaning that we need to grab from there.
And are we going to understand if we don't question and look into what the
That's
words
right.
mean?
Yes, you have to. You have to.
That's why we like to
understand.
read things 3 times.
Right. Yes.
3 times.
At least 3.
So Mrs. Jackson read this book 3 times before I came up with my running list of words that I thought, would a 4th grader really know what that meant reading this book about bugs? So these are just some words that I came up with after my 3rd time reading it. 3 times, it's our magic number. And those words include rotted away. Rotted away. I want you to think about that. Swarming. Might know what that is because
Right.
these little precious bugs tend to swarm and we get very upset. Injects. I always make my kids get injections over fall break.
That's right. We had to get some injections.
Ooze.
Ooze.
Sometimes when we have an incision that won't heal, it might
ooze.
Ooze. Acid. Ancient. Miss Jackson feels ancient the first day back from fall break.
That's right.
Grubs. You'll learn in here what that means. Glands.
Oh.
Lashes out. Lashes out.
Oh, that's a phrase there too. Lashes out.
Signals. Fossil. Scurries. And Miss Jackson's favorite word.
Onomatopoeia.
Did I spell it right?
I think you did. I'm going to trust that you did.
All
There's
right.
a lot of vowels in onomatopoeia.
I'm really trying to get better about
It
spelling
is.
it correctly.
It looks good to me.
4 that I loved was munch crunch,
Oh.
buzzing, swoops, and snaps.
Oh, those are all really
Do you think
big
those
words. Those are.
Okay.
And I can see why.
I kind of second guessed myself about snaps.
Well, no, because there's. I think
So it's okay,
when
guys,
I hear
to
the
second
word,
guess yourself. Miss Paulson and I worked together
right?
when I started writing, and I thought, I wonder what Miss Paulson would think about snaps.
Well, because I think there is a sound. When you hear the word snap, I
Okay.
can hear the sound, and that's all that an onomatopoeia is that if we hear the word and it triggers the sound that goes along with that word, and absolutely, snap, I can hear it. I can think of what may be snapping.
Okay, I wasn't
So-
sure. I wanted to double check with you
No, I'm with that
what
one.
you thought about that.
And then I just want to point out that some of these words, you might be like, well, those aren't hard words. I know those words. But remember, there's always words that we know, but it's hard for us to describe the meaning of.
And used in the context.
Right.
You may know the word. I may know what the word ancient means, but I may not understand what it means in this nonfiction text.
Right. So it's not always that the word has to be this big, long word we've never seen or heard of. It's just how do these words apply to bugs?
Exactly.
And why did the author choose these words to put in this book?
And a word on page 14 that I wanted to talk about, because often in the news and in other negative ways, the word assassin.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I wanted to save it for last so we could talk about on page 14. You may have heard the word assassin, and not in a positive way. So we wanted to talk about that because on page 14, an assassin is a person who kills another person on purpose. The assassin bug is a bug that really lives up to its name. Okay?
Oh,
So
okay.
this is how in this context, is how we are using the word assassin. But I felt like Miss Paulson and I needed to really address it because it is kind of a controversial word.
It is. It's not looked in the most positive way. But knowing that, I can make an inference about
Love when you
what
infer.
that bug must do.
Mhm.
Because it didn't tell me, and what Miss Jackson read, it didn't tell me. But if I know the meaning of the assassin in the world, then the assassin bug, I can infer what it must do.
Good connection, Miss
Yeah.
Paulson.
So
Good
that's why it's
connection.
important to understand the vocabulary. So I'm not going to tell you what that inference is because I bet you are able to make that same inference. So the vocab there, that's something we are always thinking
Makes
about.
us better readers.
Right, and it can just also be really cool words too. So it doesn't always have to be unknown. It can be like, ooh, I like that word.
I love
And-
scurries.
Yes, I like
Mhm,
scurries.
mhm.
Scurries is such a neat way to say run.
Did I forget anything, Miss Paulson?
I don't think so.
I'm super excited about
I think you got
nonfiction.
it. Yes, let's see. We've talked about the meaning of our words. We've done some inferencing. I'm just double checking.
We're gonna have
our
lots of
objectives
questioning
here.
because-
So many questions.
Lots and lots of questioning because this is all new material for most of us.
Right.
Most of us do not study bugs, and I would gather to say even those who study bugs, there may be some new ideas in here
New
about
information.
survival and why bugs exist.
Right.
So we added questioning up here. And you can be like Miss Jackson. Look at all Miss Jackson's Post-it notes. I normally take these out before we record, but grab a thing of Post-it
Right.
notes.
Exactly.
Write them down. Let's talk
Jot
about them,
down
okay?
some things, because too, what I'm thinking is when you go through the book, it would be almost kind of cool if they went through and watched the reading or looked at the page by page without listening to it. Because then you're able to see, you know, there's all these close-ups
Yes.
of the bugs, and there's a
Yes.
specific reason that
Yes.
the author decided to do that. So, you know, it would be fun to see what you might question about these different close-ups. Like,
And in our Google slide, you have Mr. Dan from Bernheim,
yes,
hands down the best reading ever. And then I do a page detail reading, and there's also another page detail reading that they add a little bit
Ooh.
that I was not able to. So you have 2 different page detail videos,
That's good.
and then Mr. Dan.
Right. Okay.
So
So we're gonna leave it at that for today. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the specific information, but
enjoy Mr. Dan.
that's right.
He's pretty amazing.
Okay.
So
So
until we read again.
Bye.